Hello, everyone. I am Janice Jules. I am a lecturer of linguistics at the University of the West Indies. Currently, I'm based at TESOL campus in the beautiful island of Barbados. For the next 10 minutes, I will heighten your awareness of a problem which confronts some English language teachers in the Caribbean, and that is holding on to traditional cultural practices, which tend to hinder learners' success in the language classroom. And then at the conclusion, I would reinforce the importance of allowing our learners to talk using the language that they know, the English that they know. And I will try to also leave you with a few strategies that you can use to promote their success in the language classroom. So in the Caribbean, the adage children should be seen and not heard is one of the very deep-rooted cultural mores. And research shows that teachers' beliefs often influence their teaching styles. And the same happens within the Caribbean. Often teachers bring their cultural beliefs into the classroom and they actually become classroom practices. So for this reason, within the English language classroom in the Caribbean, sometimes you have very teacher-fronted and teacher-dominated methods that are often seen as the norm. And in this classroom environment, as you would well recognize, very little, if anything, is heard from the learners, and their active participation in the activities and so on sometimes is often missing. So this means that when in this kind of classroom environment, what usually happens is that two features which should be present in any English classroom for success to occur with the students in learning English language, these two features are missing. And one of these features is that the learners who are engaging are supposed to be engaging and participating actively as they learn English. That's not there. In addition, the learners' interaction, the meaningful interaction with each other as they experience the language and explore the language together, that is also missing, simply because the classroom environment does not promote it. So the hypothesis is that these traditional strategies that some Caribbean teachers use in the classroom, which are linked directly to cultural beliefs that learners should be quiet when they're in the classroom. These traditional beliefs, these cultural beliefs should be replaced with more student-centered instructional strategies, which are going to allow and motivate learners to use language meaningfully and to express themselves using the English language as they are supposed to. The focus of this research that I'm talking about emerged from a larger body of research, a larger research project, which was looking at literacy. And this was carried out during the period 2016 to 2018. And from that large body of research, this present issue emerged as one of the areas of concern. There were others, and this was one that I paid close attention to. So for this research, primarily qualitative data were gathered from 6 countries with approximately 54 teachers. And the data were collected via interviews and persistent classroom observation, with persistent classroom observation being the primary instrument that was used to collect the data. Now, after this data was collected, the analysis was done via coding and the system of coding and emerging themes to result in the findings and the conclusions of the research. So I'm going to share with you now some of these findings. The findings show that the learners had limited opportunities to engage with the language. And this occurred because in most instances, the language was actually being produced by the teachers. So that kind of student-centeredness that was necessary to allow students to actively participate was not there. And the focus was on the teacher. One of the other findings that emerged was that in this environment, there were few opportunities for the learners to actually apply their skills of critical thinking and critical analysis, which are so vital. And therefore, they were not able to use these skills to collaborate with each other using the language, which is a higher order of learning, which is so necessary whenever you're learning any language. In addition, the learner's ability to ask questions to each other. You recognize that as teachers, this is an effective way to assess whether they're actually synthesizing the English language. So they're able to ask questions to each other, they're able to ask questions to the teacher, and this strategy tends to be very effective. But in this environment where the teachers held on to these cultural traditions where the learners are not supposed to be speaking, they're supposed to be quiet, and the whole focus on student-centeredness is minimal, then the students or the learners also had minimal opportunities to actually ask questions. From all the results that emerged, obviously there was an area of concern, and the concern was that the teachers, the level of awareness that was demonstrated of the importance of attending to student-centered strategies in English language teaching, that seemed to be quite minimal. And the conclusion was that this situation had to be addressed in order for teachers to go forward, to assist students in gaining success in the English language classroom. Now, research, and there's a whole body of research out there, reinforces the importance of conversation and discussion in English language classroom. And when this happens, student-centeredness is primary, because then there's primary focus on the learners. They are the primary participants in this kind of activity. Now, teachers can also create a classroom environment in which learners respect the views of their classmates and know how to use language appropriately to resolve disagreements. That is very important. And with student-centeredness and focusing on allowing students to learn the language, then this whole respect for each other's expressions and each other's thinking through the language is there, and is something that needs to be emphasized. We also have the notion of accountable talk, which is important. And it's a process which learners, they have to be guided towards this. It's not something that they can do on their own. They need to be guided towards this. And with the focus on student-centeredness and allowing students to speak, then they are able to acquire these natural skills related to student-centeredness. So the recommendations as we go forward, learners should be motivated to use the language of negotiation as they work in peers and small groups. In addition, the aim is for them to move towards a more communicative classroom environment with primary focus on learner participation, student-centeredness, learner participation, and the ability or the environment that allows them to express themselves and use the language. And ultimately, Caribbean teachers, you must follow the trend of guiding learners towards autonomy. But learner autonomy, we know, is another subject within itself, which would require lots of discussion, and that can be held back for another time. So, as I conclude, the good news is that there are some teachers in the Caribbean who are actually implementing student-centered strategies in their English language teaching. And that's a very good thing. Now, and while this number is limited, the objective is to ensure that other teachers keep pace with this current trend, and that they too can go forward and institute or implement the necessary student-centeredness in their English language teaching that can carry the learners forward to success. The thing is to move away from those traditional strategies and methods which limit students from talking, which limit students from active participation, which limit the amount of student-centeredness that is necessary for learner success in the classroom. and we need to go forward with the kind of strategies that promote student-centeredness. So as I said, while we have some evidence of student-centeredness not being used, the good thing is that there are some teachers who are going forward with this. So I want to thank you very much for listening, and I hope I was able to add some knowledge, some aspect of knowledge to this area for you. Thank you so much for listening.